The Atlantic Sun, Florida Atlantic University student-run newspaper, tells you each week what's happened and what will be happening on campus and around town. The Sun will bring you complete listings of campus activities, entertainment schedules, and exciting and informative feature-length stories on the people that make news at FAU. Read the Sun, pick up your copy each Wednesday, and be informed. News Scene is next on UTV, University Television, Florida Atlantic University's student system. This is News Scene, a bi-weekly student news presentation of Florida Atlantic University's student television system. And now, News Scene anchorman, Mark Griffith.
Good afternoon and welcome to Thursday's edition of News Scene. I'm Mark Griffith, and headlining the news today, President Ford is leading Ronald Reagan in an NBC survey of Republicans. Lake Worth electric bills go up, and the House overrides President Ford twice this week. Lily, how did things look for the Winter Olympics?
Romantic. Today in sports, we'll have hockey scores, a look at basketball, a filmed report of fun on ice, a story on the real thing in the NFL, and possible indoor sports at the Winter Olympics. Steve, think we'll have snow tonight?
I doubt it, but we have sunny skies and clear weather ahead.
News Scene will be back with these and other stories in a moment.
Lucy De Toro is a field worker for Save the Children Federation. She works in a poor South American barrio which lies on top of a former city dump. The poor come to the city to make a better life for their children. They find only hopelessness and despair. But lasting change is possible. With your help, these parents have joined together to build a healthier, more productive environment in which to raise their families. We can save the lives of needy children in this village and in many others around the world. We can help so many if only you will help. You can give one child a chance for a future. Won't you please write today? A life is too precious to waste on a garbage heap. For more information, write Save the Children, Box 120, Grand Central Station, New York, New York, 10017.
Look, here's your personal medication profile. It's a record of the prescription and non-prescription drugs that you've been taking.
Many people don't realize that all drugs, prescription and non-prescription, have some body-altering function. Taking two different drugs at the same time, failing to follow directions, taking medication as a matter of habit. All these practices may be dangerous. Many pharmacists keep medication profiles on the patients they serve, a history of the drugs they've used, and information on health problems that might be affected by drugs. Just for the record, get professional advice. The pharmacist is an expert in drug composition and use. Be wise with medicines. Ask your pharmacist how.
According to an NBC telephone poll of Republican voters, President Ford is now leading the Ronald Reagan after trailing him in that same poll a month earlier. The network broadcast the results of its poll as Reagan campaigned in North Carolina for the key GOP primary in March. The results of the poll indicated that Ford was favored by 50% of the 535 registered Republican voters contacted. The poll showed that 38% favored Reagan, with the rest uncommitted. Comparing Ford with Senator Hubert Humphrey, respondents favored the president 46 to 40% over Humphrey, whom he trailed last month. Among registered Democrats, the poll showed former Governor Jimmy Carter moving up but still trailing the party's two major non-candidates, Humphrey and Senator Edward Kennedy of Massachusetts. Residents of Lake Worth will once again be hit in the pocketbook when their electric bills are mailed out next month. Lake Worth was the lowest priced area in the state until now. WPEC's Greg Giginski reports.
Lake Worth Utilities Authority has announced that the fuel adjustment charge applied to electric bills during the month of February will be higher. In fact, it'll be a 100% increase over the January charge. The Lake Worth power plant can operate on either natural gas or fuel oil. However, natural gas is used as much as possible because it's the cheaper fuel, costing only 29% as much as oil. But under federal regulations, the city's use of natural gas will have to be curtailed. As a result, Lake Worth will have to use more fuel oil, and that will cause the rise in electric bills. The Utilities Authority was forced to use oil as a fuel over half the time during December of 1975, and since the fuel adjustment charge for February is based on the average cost of fuel purchased in December, the charge for February will reflect this higher fuel cost. Lake Worth has been able to maintain its position of having one of the lowest charges for electricity in the state of Florida. In 1975, it was the third lowest in the state and much cheaper than Florida Power and Light. Lake Worth's average charge last year for 1,000 kilowatts was $28.31, which was 15% less than the average of $33.12 charged by FP&L for the same time period. Lake Worth is being curtailed in its use of gas at an even higher rate during the month of January. So the fuel adjustment charge, unfortunately, during the month of March, should show an even further increase. This is Greg Gazinski reporting for Eyewitness 12.
The House voted 310 to 113 Tuesday to override President Ford's veto of a $45 billion bill to fund labor, health, and welfare-related programs. The override gave the Democrats an early victory in the election year drive against Ford's economy proposals. The override will now shift to the Senate, where it is expected to be upheld. Ford vetoed the bill in December because it was nearly $1 billion over his budget recommendations. He termed it a classic example of unchecked spending. The vote came 6 days after the president submitted his budget for the next fiscal year. The House also ignored a last-minute plea from President Ford and vetoed overwhelmingly to halt further American aid to Angola. The 333 to 99 vote left the next move up to the president. The House Republican leader, John J. Rhodes of Arizona, said that he has received no indication to whether Ford will veto the bill. Ford said that the failure of the United States to take a stand will inevitably lead our friends and supporters to conclusions about the steadfastness and resolve over international conflicts. Less than friendly Palm Beach County Commission turned down a second attempt by the Ku Klux Klan to get permission to hold a rally in the county park. In the tradition of the group, a Klan spokesman said the crosses will still burn on privately owned property this Saturday night. The meeting, which is expected to draw about 1,500 Klan sympathizers, is according to the printed invitations for the white public only. Dan Collingsworth, exalted Cyclops of the West Palm Beach chapter of KKK, asked the county commissioner on December 30th for permission to hold the rally on the Okehili Park in West Palm Beach. He was turned down then because commissioners said the parks were closed after sundown. Undaunted, he came before the commission yesterday to ask for a permit for a daylight rally. He said also he wanted to burn our crosses out there, which have been our custom for years and years. In response, Commissioner Bill Medlin replied, "I notice this invitation says whites only. That's not our policy in opening our parks." Consequently, the motion was denied and the KKK had been advised to burn their crosses on private property. News Scene will return. We'll have a look at plans for busing in Broward County, a film report on the pollution of the Florida's waterways, and the ever-fascinating Louis Gould with sports.
Medicine packages don't have alarms to tell you when to take them, or retrieving arms to keep you from taking too many, or automatic dispensers to keep you from taking too few. They don't have gimmicks. Instead, they have something much simpler and better: the label directions. Before you take any medicine, read the label, because medicines can't help you if you don't take them right.
Marge, I could have saved you a bundle of money on your new glass doors.
But, Uncle Louie, it wasn't reliable safety glass.
Believe me, that is no bargain.
What's that?
A decal, just so you and the kids don't walk into the glass.
Right.
For further information, write GLASS or phone toll-free the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission.
Broward school board members listened to a barrage of complaints Tuesday night against plans for busing in that county. The crowd of about 300 were offered 3 alternative programs to facilitate a court-ordered integration plan. The group was favorably impressed by Plan 1, which converts all clustered schools to kindergarten through 5th grade facilities and returns the system to the neighborhood school concept. Other plans revealed by school officials include Plan 2, which provides for an 18 to 20% increase in busing for racial balance. This would dismantle all the cluster schools. Plan 3, which the NAACP has endorsed, would call for a retention of 6 cluster schools and 2 paired schools. School officials said Plan 3 would involve no significant increase in busing. A recent report by an underwater research center showed that the Indian River, which flows almost 2/3 the length of Florida, may be killed by pollution in the near future. WPEC's Ron Landy reports from Fort Pierce.
County to Martin County could be a polluted waterway in 20 years. That is the preliminary finding of the Harbor Branch Foundation of Fort Pierce, the Marine Science Center undergoing the study of the river. Center engineer David Young says the river is being polluted by sewage from the cities and towns along its banks. And if the present method of treatment is not improved, the river might be doomed. Compounding that is expected population growth over the next 2 decades. The more people, the more sewage, which will lead to over-nutrification of the river, more algae, less fish. Young says the river has excellent flushing action to get rid of some of the nutrients brought on by the sewage, but each time a bridge is constructed across it, that cuts down on the action. And when there are more people, there are more bridges. This is Ron Landy in Fort Pierce for Eyewitness 12.
Louis, I've always been a big hockey fan. From a distance, I hear there's been a rash of injuries this week.
Yes, lots of blood and guts. In the National Hockey League Tuesday, Philadelphia Flyer bully Dave Schultz suffered a broken jaw in a bench-clearing brawl in the second period of the Philadelphia-Atlanta game. Schultz, who holds a record of 342 penalty minutes in one season, had his jaw broken by Atlanta rookie Ken Houston. Houston led the Flames scoring, landing 2 goals in their 8-4 victory over the Flyers. In other NHL action, the New York Islanders defeated Minnesota 4-3, Los Angeles blanked the hapless Washington Caps 2-0, Detroit edged by St. Louis 3-2, and Montreal and Vancouver skated to a 2-2 tie. The Winter Olympics in Innsbruck opened its door to athletes and games officials, and word spread quickly that the visiting rules for men and women competitors aren't nearly so prudish as the Austrian hosts had initially indicated. Young love may be blossoming now that the Olympic Committee has okayed women's visits to the men's dorms, but the committee is not looking quite so favorably on the excessive drinking of the Canadian bobsled team, which will reportedly be disbanded after the Olympic Games. Romance without wine may prove to be a sobering experience. Denmark and Andorra pulled out of the Winter Olympics, reducing the number of participating nations to 36. Neither country gave a reason for their withdrawal. Some of the top motorcyclists in the world are trying to qualify for the World Ice Championship scheduled for March 6th. Jim Gallagher from WPEC TV in Palm Beach filed this report.
The motorcycling on any surface can be hazardous, but this past weekend at the ice stadium it looks pretty wild. The other qualifying rounds are to take place in Grenoble, France in the Soviet Union before the big contest in early March. Taking first and second place in this event were 2 Swedish drivers, and in third was an entrant from the Soviet Union. And the Swedes seem to do very well in this competition, demonstrating an affinity for the Nordic winter sports.
I'll be back after this message with a look at the American Basketball Association All-Star Game, ABA player trading, the UPI College basketball poll, and some up-to-date scores on FAU intramurals.
Brakes in the cylinders, the whole thing is safe. He's not worried for a long time. When I put the brake on the steam,
Leonard Kulik is one of those rare mechanics who seems to have a sixth sense about engines. In fact, Leonard could be head mechanic here, except for one reason. Leonard can't read. But Leonard and millions of others like him can learn. There's a program called Right to Read. Its goal is to eliminate illiteracy in the United States by 1980. The program could use your help.
Each of you imagine that you're going to be writing up an order.
Please, contact your State Department of Education Right to Read director.
I would like to order some parts.
Every American has a right to read.
In the American Basketball Association, the All-Star Game was held Tuesday night with the champion Denver Nuggets hosting the league's top players. We have a filmed report through WPEC.
The Denver Nuggets, leading the league and featuring rookie superstar David Thompson, jumped off to an early lead before the All-Stars with the incredible Dr. J scoring on moves like this, and big artist Gilmore leading Kevin Lockree's All-Stars to a third-quarter 7-point lead. Then Bobby Jones, called by many the best all-around basketball player in either league, started to do his thing, rebounding, blocking shots, stealing the ball, and passing off while shutting down Dr. J on defense. The Nuggets battled back, and it was close until David Thompson took over. David scored 15 points in the final period as the Nuggets pulled away with a record 52 points in the fourth quarter and won 144-138. David led the scoring with 29 points and was voted the MVP and said he's very happy playing in Denver. Though David won the MVP, he lost to Dr. J in the exciting slam dunk halftime show. The ABA also announced that the trustees will ante up $1.5 million each to ensure the league continuing for another season. Perhaps, as Mark Twain once said, the rumors of death of the ABA have been exaggerated. This is Gary Cruz reporting in Denver, Colorado.
In the National Basketball Association, the recent scoring statistics show Buffalo's Bob McAdoo still the NBA scoring leader, with an average of 31.4 points per game. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of LA is second with 28.1 points. Around the NBA, Don Nelson, a 14-year veteran of the Boston Celtics, announced Tuesday that he will retire at the end of this season. Nelson, a key part of the Celtics attack, said that the change in the Celtics system required more running and rebounding, which he feels are not his strong points. In the ABA, the New York Nets announced that they had traded former Rookie of the Year Swen Nader, together with forward Billy Schaefer, to the Virginia Squires in exchange for veteran center Jim Eakins. Nader lost his starting position to rookie Kim Hughes. In this week's United Press College basketball poll, Indiana once again was ranked number 1. Marquette moved up to the number 2 spot with a surprising Las Vegas, Nevada at number 3. North Carolina, Washington, Rutgers, Maryland, Alabama, Tennessee, and UCLA round out the top 10. Intramural sports had a busy week. Basketball action continued with Swamp trouncing the Bouncers 67-20, and Gestapo beat Delta Sig 55-36. Wednesday afternoon saw Burnt City Rollers win a forfeit game against Circle K. Dr. T's defeated High Flyers 54-31, and the Mills Brothers beat ATO 47-39. Charlie Diaz was once again high scorer for the losing ATO team with an impressive 22 points. Reports continue about cocaine usage among NFL players. At least one sub-quarterback's name keeps coming up. Some players insist the percentage of users in the NFL is the same as in normal society. There's no indication of cocaine use among the Dolphins, one of whom says, if Don Shula ever got the faintest hint of anything like that, the guy would be gone. It appears that in the NFL, Coke is not a soft drink. That's sports for Thursday. Mark, in the age of détente, another $30 billion for more missiles. Can it be true?
According to Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld, the U.S. is going to have to replace its defense missile system because it is outdated. The price tag of the renovation is estimated at about $30 billion. Rumsfeld said that the famed Minutemen force is too vulnerable to Russian attack. The 1,000 missile system has been the backbone of a land-based U.S. strategic power for over a decade, but Rumsfeld now says that the increasingly sophisticated Soviet ICBM capability threatens to neutralize the Minutemen. In putting it all together, Rumsfeld furnished new details for 2 other major strategic systems, the controversial B-1 bomber and the Trident submarine. News Team will be back with this short message with some good news on Florida drivers and some sunshine from sparkling Steve Brewer.
This is Cale Yarborough, and this is a pit, where winning often depends on how fast your crew can put you back in the race. This is a job for real pros, for the training, the experience, teamwork, and will to win that can make you a real pro. Look at the hundreds of job opportunities in today's Army, from automotive mechanics to repairing helicopters. So go ahead, take the green, and get your future off to a roaring start.
See the Army man.
About 6 months after you're married, you began to wonder why nothing happened.
Yeah, maybe we're doing something wrong.
We can test a man, and right away we know whether he can produce babies. But a woman takes time to study. We like to work on couples that want babies because we like babies too.
Family planning means more than you may have thought. For information or help, call the Family Planning Clinic in your community, your local health department, or your own physician.
Florida drivers are sticking close to the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit. This has exceeded in dropping the state's 1975 traffic toll to its lowest point since 1967. It was the second straight year for traffic deaths have declined. Just released state figures show that the Florida's highway safety record is even better than the national trend. Steve, you couldn't have given us better weather. What's the forecast for the weekend?
I'd say it's going to be about the same for the next couple of days, Mark. We've had fair and cool weather which prevailed over the entire state during the pre-dawn hours this morning. Highs Wednesday range from only 52 at Tallahassee to 61 at Orlando and at 67 at Miami. Indications are that the cool weather will linger over the state with no rapid warming up in the immediate future, but the skies were mostly sunny. Looking at our state map, our temperatures recorded early this morning were 27 in Tallahassee, 31 in Jacksonville, 40 in the Tampa-St. Pete area, 50 in West Palm Beach, with a 54 in Miami, and a nice 61 in Key West. Looking at our national map, the Florida forecast will be cold over most of the states. The lows tonight will range from the 20s to the 30s in the north, and in the south it will be 50 in the southern peninsula. The highs will be in the upper 50s to lower 60s in the north to upper 60s and lower 70s in the south for the highs. Now, getting back to that national map here, considerable nighttime fog with cloudiness was reported along the northern half of the Pacific coast. A cold front moving into the northwestern United States triggered rains along the northern Washington coast. Skies were also cloudy in the Great Lakes area, the Appalachians, and the mid-Atlantic coast. Late nighttime skies were generally fair over the remainder of the nation. A cold front curved through lower Michigan on through into the lakes area here. And we had from Quebec another cold front which trailed through Ohio into the east Oklahoma. A high pressure system over Texas will change little through Friday, and ice jams and the threat of flash floodings were expected to continue in the Hudson River area. Northern Florida saw frost and freeze warnings. Elsewhere in the state saw typical January temperatures. The national weather forecast: showers will dampen northwestern Washington. Light snow will cover northern and Thursday. Our boating forecast will be 2 to 4 feet. Our winds coming out of the east to southeast at 6 to 8 knots. And in our Boca Raton Inlet, our tide will be high tonight at 6:58 p.m. and it was low at 12:59 this afternoon. Our forecast for tomorrow: considerable cloudiness and cooler tonight. Thursday will be partly cloudy. We'll have a high around 70 on Thursday and a low tonight near 50. The sun will set at 6 p.m. tonight and rise tomorrow morning at 7:07. Well, Mark, our man of the hour, what else is going on?
As you may know, UTV has been having some financial troubles. I give you news scene producer Kathleen Bardsley, who would like to share with you some of these comments.
In the last few months, those of you who have been viewing student television have probably noticed some changes in our format. Obviously, our name has been changed. As of December, Wing TV became UTV, University Television Services. You may have also noted a change in news scene. In January, we expanded from a 15 to a 30-minute bi-weekly production, and you have also seen some new faces. We have added more national and local news, as well as sports and weather. Through the generosity of WPEC Channel 12, we have been able to bring you filmed network reports. We are proud of News Scene. We feel it can compare favorably with the news presentations of any university, as well as many local productions. But the price of improvement is high, and UTV, like the university system itself, is a very expensive proposition. News Scene alone costs UTV almost $65 a half hour. In order to keep News Scene on the air until June, it would cost UTV about $2,000. Earlier this month, a funding error in student activities, our sole support, cost UTV almost $8,000. Without these funds, UTV could not continue to broadcast. We have been able to keep News Scene on the air only through the generosity of Hank Schubert, Kurt Norling, and the staff of Learning Resources. But they cannot, however, continue to support UTV without seriously depleting their own funds. Because UTV is independent of any college in this university, we have received no aid from any of its departments. Consequently, we are forced to seek outside help by means of advertising and funding drives. Until such time as we are successful in these methods, I must regretfully announce that as of 1:30 this afternoon, UTV will shut down production and cease to broadcast indefinitely. This is a particularly distressing statement to make when one realizes the full potential of independent student television to this campus. With the proper funding and support, interdepartmental communications networks could be devised, concerts and plays videotaped, and university relations could be very much strengthened. Without this support, 3 fully equipped studios are left virtually empty of any student participation. And most importantly, an already lethargic student body becomes even more apathetic in the wake of yet another educational cutback. 2 weeks ago, the Post-Times ran a headline that read, "The Obituary of a University." It referred to FAU. Yesterday, in his State of the University address, student body president Jim Hardman expressed the doubt that a degree from a Florida State University would be worth the paper it's printed on if changes do not occur within the next few years. So comparatively, the loss of UTV is a relatively small event. But little by little, we are losing the very things we came to this university to receive. And I wonder how long we can allow this to continue. This is Kathleen Bardsley speaking for the staff and management of University Television.
News Scene will return after this brief message and some gratifying news for vegetarians and a recap of today's headlines.
They've been chasing you so long you can't remember. You've been hunted down systematically from state to state. You've been poisoned, trapped, bountied, and now they're coming at you from the sky. Why? Because they're afraid of you. The timber wolf, one of America's great predators, one of the animals America needs.
A public service of the National Audubon Society and its local chapters.
My husband's mental illness really set us back.